All right, are we good to go? Okay. Yeah, no, I think we're good. Oh yeah, that's better actually. So this is Marketing Cloud Growth, SMB Playground, or Future Powerhouse, and we are Zoe Fisher and Sarah Kelleher. And thank you all for coming. Hope you all managed to get some lunch and weren't stuck in the queues for too long. And hopefully you're all not feeling too tired after lunch as well. It's nice and cool in this room. So yeah, let's get going. So why are we here today? Hopefully we're all here because in some form or another, we're interested in the Salesforce marketing ecosystem. So I'm aware some of you might be end users of Marketing Cloud or account engagement, potentially consultants, maybe you support a Salesforce org that uses Marketing Cloud in some form. But really, I think we're all here because our interest has been piqued at the beginning of this year with the announcement of Marketing Cloud Growth. And so we all really want to know a little bit more about, firstly, why does this product even exist? What does it do? And what does it mean for marketers, but also other people in the ecosystem as well? So that is what Zoe and I will be aiming to leave you with at the end of this session. So in order to look at what is coming and the future of Salesforce marketing, we need to take a little bit of a step back in time to understand where the Salesforce Marketing Cloud has come from. So I'm going to tell a little bit of a story about the history of Salesforce marketing, which starts in the 2000s with the founding of ExactTarget and Pardot as separate companies, but both marketing automation tools. And they were founded and working in a fairly new space at the time. Then in 2012, Salesforce announced its first iteration of Marketing Cloud with the acquisitions of Buddy Media and Radian6, which became Social Studio. The pattern of acquisitions then continues for the next few years, most notably the acquisition of ExactTarget, who had in the meantime acquired Pardot. So Salesforce gets a nice 2-for-1 on marketing automation platforms. And then continuing over the next few years, acquiring several other marketing technology platforms and building those into building out Marketing Cloud through acquisition. Now, this tactic changes a little bit in 2021 when we have the kind of first iteration of CDP that then has now been reiterated through several different names and is now Data Cloud. But this was really the start of Salesforce starting to build its own products. So this is not an acquisition. This is a kind of homegrown functionality. And we start to see that trend changing across Marketing Cloud as well. And this continues. So in 2022, we had the rebranding of all the Marketing Cloud products with, let's say, mixed success. I think we're all still getting used to some of the names. But I think this was really another turning point in seeing the shift from this acquisition, bundling lots of things together, to trying to create a more coherent Marketing Cloud and using more of the functionality they already have in a new context. And then at the beginning of this year, Marketing Cloud Growth is launched officially. And this is a fully homegrown marketing platform for Salesforce. Yeah, it's a real change from the acquisition strategy that we saw in the 2000s and leading up to 2020. So before we now extend our story into the future, just want to take a little moment to introduce myself and Zoe. So we have been around in the Salesforce marketing ecosystem for around a decade. We both came from end user backgrounds and now work at Nebula Consulting. And we're a UK-based Salesforce partner specializing in B2B marketing and sales. And I think really the main reason that we wanted to come and talk about Marketing Cloud Growth today is because this is a story we have been following really closely. We're both active members of the Salesforce marketing community. I'm one of the Salesforce marketing champions, and Zoe runs the Pardot user group here in London. So this is a really interesting topic for us and something that we've been spending a lot of time getting into. So I wanted to come and share that with all of you. So that brings us to today. Why has Marketing Cloud Growth even been announced. Salesforce already has 2 marketing automation platforms that it spent a lot of time and money acquiring and integrating into the platform. So this seems like a bit of a departure. Why are we now adding another tool on top of it? But I think in order to explain that, we can look at some of the challenges that have arisen from that strategy of acquisitions that we saw that first half of the story. So really, I think there are kind of a few main challenges that have come up around the acquisition strategy. And firstly, it's just really confusing. We come across many customers who, when you talk about Marketing Cloud, what bit of Marketing Cloud are we talking about? Some customers don't even know what they have, and they don't know what they're buying. They don't know what bits of the platform they get. They don't realize there's lots of different modules that all stitch together, and it's really not clear. And some of the impacts on that are, A, people really should know what products they have, but also it's really hard to get the right skills in-house or to find the right skills in a partner, because you have to understand what skills you're really looking for. The products also technically compete with one another. So we come across this situation all the time where people have engagement, Marketing Cloud, Exact Target, whatever we're calling it, account engagement, Pardot, and they actually get pitched against one another, which feels like a really big waste of everyone's resource and headspace. And we've seen instances where people are told they should upgrade from one to the other or migrate from one to the other. And really, this is just causing a lot of unnecessary resource, time, money being spent on these projects. And there's also a lot of crossover. So from a Salesforce perspective, they have 2 platforms, 2 marketing automation platforms, plus the rest of the Marketing Cloud suite, which all needs to be kept up to date. It all needs to be included in the releases. It all needs to be supported when tickets are raised. And this just creates a huge amount more effort than a more streamlined approach. And it means that we have multiple different ways of doing things and multiple tools that are all effectively doing the same thing. So we have multiple content builders, multiple ways of automating process, multiple different data models. And that's just a lot of time and headspace needed to maintain all of that from a Salesforce side and from a customer side. So whilst having all of these best-in-class products bought through acquisition, all under one banner, it does tell a good story. We've taken the best from the ecosystem and brought it into Salesforce. The reality is that it causes a lot of underlying issues. And that's why we've seen this change from the strategy of acquisition to building some more things in-house. So this is where we enter Marketing Cloud Growth, and now I'm going to hand over to Zoe, who's going to tell you a little bit more around what that actually is and how it might solve some of the problems we've just been through.
So, as Sarah discussed, it's a bit loud. Salesforce has gone from having independent marketing platforms that are actually not connected at all, not even actually connected to Salesforce at all, to having their own homegrown one. So what does that actually mean, and what does it actually look like? So Salesforce are actually quite smart here, and instead of building something completely from scratch, what they're doing is they're taking existing capability and they're repackaging it and delivering it into a marketing context. So what we're looking at here is something that's built on the core platform. It's using Data Cloud's data model. It's using Flow heavily. It's also using digital experiences or Salesforce CMS, if you're familiar with that. And it's also then got AI built into the platform as well. Einstein is what Salesforce has been talking about a lot for the past year. And by building it on the core platform, having Data Cloud as the data model as well, it just means that you're that much readier to use AI as well from the get-go. So before I actually get into Marketing Cloud Growth and some of the capabilities of it and how it's functioning, I just wanted to take a second to talk about Data Cloud. So just quick hands up in the room. Who here has used Data Cloud or understands Data Cloud or any other CDP? Okay, a few, maybe a third of the room, roughly. Okay, so for everyone else, I just want to do a really quick intro into Data Cloud, and it's going to be the quickest intro ever, so please don't hold it against me if it leaves you confused still. So Data Cloud at a high level, what it does is able to connect all of your disparate data sources. So as marketers, I'm thinking of this from a marketing context, we have lots of platforms. We love spending money on lots of tech. Don't ask us why. So we might have our event platform, our webinar platform, our digital advertising platform, Salesforce as a platform. We've got all these different platforms that all have their own databases and their own data structures within them, and everything's very disconnected. So it's really difficult to get that single view of a potential customer or an actual customer that we're working with. So that's where Data Cloud comes in to solve that problem. We're able to ingest the data from all of those disparate data sources, and where we might have multiple instances of an individual across our different data sources, we're able to end up with a unified individual. We're going to be talking about unified individuals a lot today, where it's essentially a kind of a single record that's made up of all of those disconnected individual records, if that makes sense. So we're able to unify all of those data sources and get a single 360 view of our customers and our leads. And that's really important because that is the basis for Marketing Cloud growth. So if we look at how Marketing Cloud growth is taking the best bits of current functionality and redelivering it into the marketing context, starting out with data management and segmentation. So today in Marketing Cloud or account engagement, we have data extensions, and then we have our lists as well. So we've got different ways of managing our data there. And in Marketing Cloud growth, what we have is obviously our Data Cloud data model, our unified individuals, and we are using the same segments that are available to us in Data Cloud as our segments in Marketing Cloud growth as well. So Data Cloud really is going to be the underlying platform here for us to be using. If you were in the session earlier this morning with the Data Cloud for B2B marketers, then you'll know that Data Cloud really is the future of everything. So yeah, segmentation is all built on Data Cloud. Next, we have consent management. This is something that as a consultant, we've at times wrestled with for some of our customers' requirements on the different platforms. So in Marketing Cloud engagement, we've got the preference center. And again, we've got our data extensions, and we're able to manage people's preferences and their subscriptions through that. And with account engagement, we're able to use things like the mailability fields, the opt-out field that has lots of changes to it at times, and the email preference center. What we have in Marketing Cloud growth is we have a more of a consent objects available to us. So we have a preference page still, and we're able to use the contact points. So for those of you that are familiar with Data Cloud will understand the contact points that are linked to our unified individuals. This is what we're using to manage our consent. So we have 4 consent objects in Marketing Cloud growth that help us to manage that consent a little bit more watertight than how we might do it in our custom-built processes on the platforms that we're using today. So we're able to manage consent by channel, so email and SMS, and then by the subscription as well, so events and newsletters and product updates and such. Next, we have lead qualification. So if you're not aware at the minute, Marketing Cloud growth is specifically being marketed to B2B businesses today. Not to say it won't be available to B2C businesses in the future, but currently it's marketed towards B2B. So talking about lead qualification, in account engagement today, we've got scoring and grading. Scoring is obviously great, and we've got our Einstein scoring features as well that are also fantastic. We have grading, which is super helpful, but does require quite a lot of setup as well. And then in Marketing Cloud growth, I actually really like what they've done with the lead qualification here. So you have your engagement score and your fit score. So the engagement score is more like Pardot scoring, and then the fit score is more like your grading. And you're able to build those rules completely custom. So you can decide what you're going to score people on and how much you're going to score them in way of, what they're engaging with you on, as well as those attributes as well. And again, this is using data from Data Cloud. So data related to the unified individual and the related objects there. And what we're able to do is get an overall score that is a combination of the engagement and the fit score. So you've just got one score for your sales team to look at and see from 0 to 100, how much should I care about this lead that we've just got. So I do think that's been done really well. Next, we have the marketing assets. So again, marketing cloud engagement, we've got a really nice builder in there. Account engagement, we've got several experiences to choose from if we want to build an email or a landing page. But one of them is actually the new Marketing Cloud growth experience. So that's good. So as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be using digital experiences or Salesforce CMS, and that is what we're going to be hosting all of our content on. So that's including our brand styles, our files, our images, our landing pages, our forms, our emails, and we're going to be using the Lightning Builder to build our landing pages and emails as well. So that's a really nice way of using, core functionality that the rest of our business is probably using already for other things. At least we're now all using the same tech there. Next, we have automation. So we all know there's many ways of doing things. So today on Marketing Cloud engagement, you've got your journey builder, and then you've got all of the other automation tools in there as well. And then in account engagement, we've got lots of automation tools to choose from, our automation rules and our engagement programs. Sometimes it's hard to know which is the best tool for the job. And obviously we are limited on those as well. What we have in Marketing Cloud Growth is Flow. Flow is there for everything. If you want to send just a one-off email, just a single send, you're going to be sending it using Flow. If you want to send a series of emails, it's going to be done using Flow. If you want to create a landing page, we're creating it using Flow. Everything is done using Flow. So marketers will have a kind of slimmed down version of Flow to be able to use now for all of their activities that they need to execute on Marketing Cloud Growth. So we've just looked at all the best bits there. I'm going to hand back over to Sarah now to talk about what this actually means for marketers.
Great. I'm just going to put this way. Yeah, I agree with Zoe. I really like what they've done here. I like a lot of the fact that we've taken what are really good bits of already existing Salesforce functionality and just applied them in a different context. And I think that's a really smart way of doing this. But it is a big change from what we're doing today. And the last time we had a big change in Marketing Cloud, I don't think any of us were prepared. And I still don't think we're really prepared on what all the products are called. So how can we be better prepared for this change, and how can we be ready to enter this new world of Marketing Cloud in its new iterations? So I think there are really two areas that everyone needs to be thinking about. What skills do you need? And I think the other part of that is who we're going to need to work with and who we're going to need to collaborate with to make this an effective move. So firstly, the skills. Most marketers, I would love for everyone's entire lives to revolve around Pardot, but I appreciate that most marketers have other things to do in their jobs other than learn how to use these tools and these tech. So how do you make the best use of your time and actually focus on the things you do need to learn rather than looking at all of the things that you could learn, because you could spend hours picking apart all of these different bits that Zoe's just gone through. And I think the main areas of the skills we should be looking at fall into these kind of 4 key pillars that Salesforce talk about a lot: data, CRM, AI, and trust. So Zoe's already talked a lot about Data Cloud and how that is really going to be fundamental to Marketing Cloud growth. We don't all need to go away and become data scientists or data engineers, but we are going to have to really understand where our data is coming from, how it is structured, and how it's getting into our system. And that's so that we can continue to target and segment our audiences effectively as marketers. So there is going to be a foundation that you will need of at least your data model, understanding where all that data is coming from, so you can understand how to build the right audiences. We're now working in CRM. So for any account engagement users, a lot of what we do already is on the core platform, but possibly in a context and some of the tools that we haven't really used before. So we're going to have to get much more familiar with using the core platform. And that doesn't mean we need to go away and all do our admin certs, although actually would recommend it because I think it's very broad, but it's a huge investment in time and energy. So what are the basics that you need to know to get the most out of Marketing Cloud growth? Really, I think you need to understand, again, your object structure. So we're going from a world of prospects or your data extensions into accounts, contacts, leads, opportunities, campaigns, and really importantly, those junction objects, your campaign members, your opportunity contact roles. And understanding how they all fit together is going to be really key to making, again, your segmentation and your targeting successful. And other basic things around using Salesforce core platform as well. So understanding how page layouts work and how fields work, and just making sure that you are able to use those tools effectively to create your campaigns and to make changes where you need them. I'm going to come back to environment, but just other key areas that I think are worth investing some time in. The Salesforce reporting and analytics tools, getting yourself up to speed with reports and dashboards, maybe a bit of CRM analytics as well, and flow and automation. So Zoe's highlighted the importance that flow is going to play. Fortunately, the version of flow that marketers are getting is a sort of slimmed down version, so it's going to be a lot easier to learn. But I think understanding the capabilities of flow in general will help us to be able to know, okay, this is something we can do in Marketing Cloud growth, but there's an opportunity here where we could go and speak to someone else on the CRM team and get them to build something in flow. So understanding what is available to us now, I think, is really important there. So it wouldn't be a presentation about something to do with Salesforce if we didn't talk about AI. And I do think that that's really important for us to know. It is baked in to Marketing Cloud growth. And I think obviously everyone's quite keen on the generative AI, the prompt writing, and knowing all the different terminology. But really key is going to be that trust and security. So understanding what is happening to your data when it goes through these AI tools. And the reason that that's so important really is so that you can get buy-in. You need to be able to articulate to your stakeholders internally what is happening to the data so that you can get approval and buy-in to use and adopt these tools in your organizations. And trust, it's been a topic for marketers, a really key topic for years, since the introduction of GDPR, the changes around third-party cookies. It's a constantly evolving topic, and marketers really need to be on top of it. But even more so in Marketing Cloud growth, we saw the great new consent object, which is going to be easier to manage, but it is going to be really important that all marketers understand what it means to be compliant and understand how they can make sure that their system is compliant as well. I think it's something that it can be easy to sweep under the carpet and just ignore in the current platforms, but that's not going to be the case as we go forward. It's going to be really central to how we communicate with our audiences. So these are the skills that you can kind of work on as an individual yourself, but I think there's a much wider part of these changes, which is around how we fit into our organizations. So for the most part, Marketing Cloud and account engagement, you're kind of in your own space as marketers. You've got your own set of tools to play with. You've got your own data. You've got your own prospects, your own data extensions. You've got your own little area to do things. You can make change kind of whenever you like, and you're kind of in control. That is going to be absolutely turned on its head when we're now doing all of our marketing using tools that other people are already using in an environment where other business functions already are, where the data we're using is not our own pool of prospects over here, it's everyone else's data as well in the whole business. So we're going to need to be a lot more collaborative and understand where marketing fits in the wider business functions and in your CRM administration and strategy. So whilst Marketing Cloud and Pardot account engagement can kind of be the domain of your marketing operations team, or you might have a marketing product owner, we're going to have to move into a world where actually many more people have a vested interest and a say in Marketing Cloud. So we're going to have to work much more closely with sales operations, because we're working with their data, or your CRM owner, your CRM admin, because a lot of the features, a lot of the setup, a lot of the actual use of the platform is going to have to go through whoever owns Salesforce. We can't necessarily make all these changes just in our own little environment anymore. And an area that marketers have not really had to focus on too much is around sort of DevOps. I'm not even going to start on Pardot sandboxes, because let's just not go there. But environment strategy, sandboxes, releases, change control is not really something that's been part of the marketing world up until now. It should be, but it isn't. But we have that now with Marketing Cloud Growth. It's on core platform, so it can be baked into the rest of your change control processes, your deployment processes, your testing frameworks, which is really great, because it means we can make change consistently and safely. But it also means we're going to have to make sure we take that into account and not do the last minute, oh God, I need to get a campaign out by the end of the day, I'm just going to rush through a load of changes, because we probably won't be able to do that. We're going to need to work with other people. And I think the main thing there is really around not necessarily having to do things wildly differently. It's about having the conversation. So understanding and educating yourself on what are those processes at your business and how is that going to impact marketing, but also educating the people who currently own those processes and do those processes to what your needs are as marketers. Can you use the existing frameworks that you have, or will you need to adapt to be able to actually do your jobs? And I think having those conversations early is really important. And this doesn't have to be a brand new thing. Some of the customers that we work with are already doing this really well. And if you have a great relationship between your marketing operations and your CRM team, that's where we see the most success today. So I think just start having those conversations and you'll have a much smoother transition. All right, so once you've got yourself prepared and your team prepared, now let's actually look at when is this coming and what does that mean. So I'm going to hand back over to Zoe for that.
Right, this is the bit that everyone's looking forward to, and all the dates and things. Okay, so Marketing Cloud Growth is available today. So the minute it came out in the US just after the spring release. It starts at $1,500 per org per month. And with that, you do get Data Cloud. You do get a version of Data Cloud, obviously not, as many data credits and as much as if you bought Data Cloud separately. This is Data Cloud for marketing that we're talking about, a bit of a slimmed down version. So for brand new customers, it is available today in the US and Canada. Actually became available this week in EMEA as well for new customers, and it targeting September for UK and Ireland. I just want to reiterate again, at the minute, this is targeted at small to medium-sized businesses, also that are B2B as well, so for new customers. So thinking about existing customers as well. So if you're an existing account engagement customer, you might not have seen, but if you have Growth Edition, then you are able to use Marketing Cloud Growth Edition functionality as well. So as I've mentioned a lot every time I've spoken today, Data Cloud is a prerequisite. It's very heavy on the data cloud here. So if you haven't made use of that $0 data cloud SKU yet, I really encourage you to consider doing that. So if you also don't have the knowledge in-house, I'd really encourage you getting in touch with a partner or speaking to your AE as well. Again, if you're in the session this morning, you'll have heard that it's actually quite hard to unpick data cloud if you set it up a way that doesn't actually work for your business. So not to scare anyone, I think it's definitely worth setting up. It's clearly going to be the basis for a lot of things that are coming down the line. Definitely think it's worth exploring, but it's definitely not the product to just add on and just start switching things on. So if you have any of those admins in your businesses, make sure you try and rein them in, yeah? So yeah, if you've got growth edition of account engagement, you're able to get that $0 data cloud SKU and start taking advantage of the marketing cloud growth functionality today. And it's also estimated, again, we are not Salesforce, so these things can change. Safe harbor here, guys. But at the minute we're talking about Marketing Cloud Growth Edition. So rumor mill is there's going to be a Marketing Cloud Advanced Edition as well that's coming to better serve those bigger and more enterprise-sized customers, and that is targeting for about spring next year. So yeah, clearly the thing that Salesforce is putting a lot of development into. But what does this mean for existing customers? So again, as I've already said, I think that if you're not yet, I really think you should be making use of the $0 data cloud SKU. I'd also take this as an opportunity to review your current state of play. I don't know if any of you are working at a business where it feels like you're kind of constantly fighting fires. I know I definitely work with some customers that maybe feel like that. And you don't have to feel like that, guys. It's okay. Review your current state of play. What's working? What's not working? What platforms do you have? What are the annoying processes that you're having to do manually? What are the things that compliance keep going, oh, I don't know if we should be doing that. Let's just really take stock of everything that we're doing and everything that we've got, because it looks like long term, there's going to be migrations on the roadmap. We can't tell you a date. This is all speculation. And again, we don't have any dates to share with you there. But it looks like, there's going to be movement over to Marketing Cloud Growth. So thinking about what could that look like, and I think it's a really great opportunity as well to start looking at how you can start doing things differently. So just listed out here, if you were at Sarah's Going Global with Pardot session last year, was it 2 years ago? Okay. She shared a lot of info on how to structure your team and all of the architectural considerations as well. But these elements, I think, still apply. So thinking about your data, your marketing initiatives, your preference management, your lead qualifications, and the training and support that your team will need, and just reviewing all of that ahead of any potential migration that might be coming down the road. And for account engagement customers, in the summer release, you might have seen it, you might not have seen it, but we're able to actually convert our files that are currently stored on account engagement to CMS files. So you're able to get that transferred across now. And if you're using the Lightning Builder for your emails, you'll have seen there's a new experience as well. This is Marketing Cloud Growth, just kind of creeping in and saying hello and giving you the opportunity to start using some of its functionality. So I think start keeping your eye out for things like that are in the roadmap as well, in the release notes, so that you can start just getting ahead, so that maybe when something comes down the roadmap and we might have to look at migrating, it's not a huge project because we've already been slowly migrating over anyway. So if you want to learn more, we've got some resources that you can read up on. So here's this QR code on the screen. Give you a minute to scan that. And I'll stop now for any questions. I think we've got 5 minutes left. Cool. Thanks. Hi.
Great presentation. My name is Andy. Thank you very much for this recap of the functionality. Now, as an MVP and content creator, what I'm mostly wondering about, what I'm close to, is this transition from journey builder or no automation to flow. how hard is that going to be for the marketing users, and how can we support you better doing that transition? And I want to also make a call to everybody. We run actually a Slack workspace called Flownatic Slack Workspace. You can look that up on Google. It's by the community, for the community. Tell us what you need. We can help you to do that transition.
Awesome. Thank you. Was that a question or a statement?
Yeah, no, I think the I think in terms of how that transition goes, as we mentioned, the version of Flow Marketing Cloud is not full Flow. So it's actually much simpler. It's more like Journey Builder or engagement programs today. There's a smaller list of actions. There's actually a specific permission set for marketing flow, not full Flow. So I think there's going to be, I think one of the things that it will be really useful for support is to help marketers understand when they should use the marketing flow, or when they're trying to do something that's maybe more process and actually should be, they could lean on their CRM team to build that out in full Flow as like a business process. For campaigns, I think the marketing flow will be perfect and much simpler for them to get to grips with. But I think having some kind of overview of when to think outside of that would be really helpful as support. Any other questions? Oh, one at the back. I think we've probably got time for you two.
Really quickly, great presentation again. With Marketing Cloud engagement, you obviously have the additional studios like Mobile Studio, Ad Studio. Do you envision that those capabilities would eventually come into the Salesforce world, and anything like WhatsApp?
Yeah.
Hi. Yeah, so SMS is available as an add-on already for Marketing Cloud growth. Because it's based on Data Cloud, again, what we're able to do is pull in, obviously, all those disparate data sources. But, depending on what's included in the Data Cloud for marketing, you can always buy additional activation credits. So you can activate to there's loads of Data Cloud partners. So you can already today with Data Cloud activate to lots of ad part implementation on Data. Individuals then serve them ads through those ad partners today. So you've already kind of got that capability there, but obviously it's not Ad Studio as such. But I would say it's already kind of there, if that answers the question. Someone at the front. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just confused about one thing. So there is Data Cloud on one side. You also mentioned like campaign and campaign members. If I'm doing a campaign and campaign members, that means I need to import them first in Data Cloud to then be able to target them with Marketing Cloud growth.
Yes, I don't know how the segments relate to campaign members. I don't know if it does create members, does it? Or
so
it's through the segment builder, isn't it?
Yeah, so with the way that the campaign works is you'll pull in your unified individuals, and then they will be your campaign members essentially. So if that is a lead or contact, it depends on what you've done as the ID. So it's all about thinking about what your primary keys are, and what is the again, in terms of Data Cloud, like what is the source priority, if you know that part of Data Cloud when you're doing your identity resolutions. So if it's that you've got a lead and a contact in Sales Cloud, when you're doing your identity resolution, the unified individual, which one's the priority there? And then that would be the one that goes in, is my understanding. Yeah. Does that answer the question?
Is the campaign list of people that is in Salesforce?
Yeah.
Could it be used? It could be more resegmented in the marketing cloud process.
So the campaign object is kind of the cornerstone of Marketing Cloud growth. So everything's done. That's your kind of homepage. So marketers go to the campaign, and then you build your segment, and it adds them as campaign members. You attach your emails, your flows. They're all attached to the campaign. So that's really your hub, your homepage. So it's more, that's the vehicle for these things. But we're going off and pulling Data Cloud in to that campaign. Great. We've been told our time is up. So thank you very much, everyone.